Hi, Jared. Welcome to Startup Studio with EduHub. Here, we give budding entrepreneurs like you a chance to present yourself and your big idea. But before we begin, Jared, could you just introduce yourself briefly to the panelists?
Hello everyone, my name is Jared. I study in 6th grade. I'm currently living in Oman, but I'm from India. My hobbies are swimming, running, and cycling. I also love to study geography. My friends describe me as a kind and a mischievous boy.
Mischievous, huh? So, do you pull pranks on your friends and your teachers?
Not on teachers, but on friends.
On friends. Okay, so we are safe. And when you say that you're from India, which city in India?
I'm from Tamil Nadu or Kerala, and in Tamil Nadu I'm from Trichy, and in Kerala I'm from Muna.
Oh, lovely. Rich culture. Both the places have in India. Great. So, thank you for introducing yourself, Jared. Now, let's come to the point for this particular presentation. Please let us know what's your big idea.
My big idea is to start a study group where students study on their own without a teacher and ask each questions or doubts from the book.
Okay. All right, Jared. But I really want to know that why did you choose this idea for your startup studio? I mean, what is the problem statement that you're trying to solve?
So you see, I want to help my fellow students study on their own and ask questions to each other to sharpen their skills and enhance the knowledge. Most importantly, when students see their peers studying along with them, they are more likely to do the same. It builds collaborative skills, promotes peer learning. This will also enable students to complete their schoolwork quickly and be ready for classroom discussions.
All right, Jared. I see you have listed a couple of positive points and, things that you can solve with your idea. That's great. Now, one thing that we would love to know about is your inspiration behind this idea. All right. So, first of all, what inspired you to create this idea? And second of all, did you face any kind of problem yourself when you were trying to, study yourself, and maybe that's why you came up with this idea?
Thank you for this question. I would love to answer it. So, to be honest, I haven't been much of a studious person. I always struggle with after school studies. Assignments and homeworks used to annoy me, due to which I used to procrastinate doing them. But everything changed when one of my friends came along and helped me with it. We studied together, did the homework and assignments. I felt so motivated and interested in the same work that used to be monotonous for me. It was then that I realized that we as students do better when we study in groups rather than studying alone. And that was my aha moment.
That's amazing, Jared. It's so inspiring when we see young children like you drawing your inspiration from your own life. It's great when you identify a problem and you set out to solve it on your own. So great. So now, Jared, for the next part of the question, what I want you to tell us is that have you done any research on your competitors? Is there anyone who's doing a similar kind of solution for co-study or anything similar to this?
As per my research, there is no formal study groups or places right now in my neighborhood. What we have are small informal groups of students who plan to study together. However, there is no designated space for the same. So we meet at each other's house. This gets tedious at times because sometimes someone or the other is not available to host the study sessions or have guests over. As a result, most of the time we end up studying alone at our own houses.
Understandable, Jared. I can imagine that you would run into that kind of a problem. So, that covers your competitive analysis on the physical or offline co-study spaces. But have you also looked at online competition by any chance? Maybe somebody is doing something as a solution in the online space?
Yes, you are right. There are. One of them is Study Together. It is a platform where one can join an online study group. It has three different options like group study, solo study, or chat group. Students can do any of it.
Okay.
Okay, Jared, I'm actually glad that you have done your homework, you have done your market analysis. But now I really want to talk about your edge now. All right. So tell us, what makes you better than your competitors?
Study Together brings unknown students from all around the world together. There is a feature where one can create their own study group and invite their friends.
Okay.
I think we have had enough of this online studying in the pandemic. I strongly believe that it is more efficient when students study together offline. At the same time, parents are worried about their children's screen time, and online platforms will contribute the same. With my study group, they don't have to worry about it at all. So, introducing in this service in offline mode will be my edge.
All right. I see that's a good move, Jared. And I think you completely make sense. We are kind of done with, online studying, especially as a peer group in our homes, right? But you also mentioned a couple of challenges that you faced in offline classes. So tell me, how do you plan to launch this in an offline mode? What are the features that you plan to incorporate?
So the plan is to cover up the gaps and deliver the current expectations of my target audience by setting up offline study groups. I will be creating them on the basis of the abilities of students. I am going to adopt a mixed grouping practice where top performance will study with average and low performers. This will enable all the students to learn from each other. I have already shared my ideas with a few of my elder cousins and my neighbors. They have signed up as volunteers to come to the group sessions every week to solve the doubts that the students will have.
Okay, Jared, I must say that you're extremely resourceful. I mean, reaching out to your elder cousins and neighbors, that's a fantastic idea. And I also love how you are creating these groups on the basis of abilities of students to give it a good mix of, children who are better at a topic to, helping out the weaker ones. Great. So now tell us, is your idea all about studies and study groups, etc., and working hard, or is it more than that?
As we all know, all study and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So, my study group will not just be about studying, but fun as well. I am going to plan some interesting fun activities for the students, which will be held once in 15 days. All the activities will be recreational. For example, quiz, painting, gaming, group games, festive celebrations, etc. My biggest USP is that my business is non-profitable, and who does not like free things? I will solely work on volunteers. For example, the adults that I will be inviting.
Great thinking, Jared. I think it's absolutely genius, the way you're planning your execution. Now tell me, how will you operate your business? The day-to-day activities and everything. How will you go about those activities?
Since my startup idea is non-profitable, I cannot really afford physical space. So, I have decided to use a community hall in my society. I have discussions with the manager regarding the bookings and timings. I have a heads up from them as well.
All right. I really like the idea of using the community halls, Jared. You know why? Because it also solves the problem that there are guests coming over to your friend's house and you sometimes have to stay or study alone. So it solves all those problems. So let's now break it down a little, shall we? why don't you tell me something about the day-to-day functioning of the group? Who is going to handle that?
The group members are going to choose representatives from each group. These representatives will form a board of students who will manage the group. All the day to day work will be divided among the group leaders.
Okay, all right. Well, that's understandable. All right. So that was about dividing the work. But Jared, since it's a physical space service, who will be responsible for maintaining discipline? I mean, who will ensure that children study, they not just chit chat? How about that? Have you thought about it?
I will set up certain ground rules to be followed by all the members of the study group. Every student will be informed about the same. Also, this initiative is more about learning self discipline and regulation. Each student will be responsible for their own actions. Further, the student leaders of the groups will ensure that everyone follows the rules.
Well, I like the idea that you do have rules, in your study space. And absolutely, I think self-discipline is so important for children to learn in today's time. But what about some other type of rules, Jared, apart from discipline? For example, no gadget. And because if you allow gadgets, who's going to keep a check on the students on whether they're actually studying or they're playing some online games? Are they using it for homework and learning or some other fun stuff? So, do you have any rules around the gadget part as well?
Yes, I will set up the ground rules even for students. They will also include prohibition on gadgets for entertainment purposes. Student leaders will inform other leaders during the weekly meetings about the ongoing activities in their respective groups and the decisions to dismiss any student on discipline grounds will be taken by everyone together.
Wow. Okay. That sounds a little tough, to dismiss a student. But okay. So what exactly is the reward or the penalty system that you have? How are you going to manage it? Are you always going to dismiss students if they are found doing any kind of mischief, fighting, or disturbing the class? What is the system?
If a student is found disturbing the rest of the group or disrupting the learning process, then they would be dismissed from the group after informing the parents about the same.
Okay. All right. So I think we have had some rules, regulations about the decorum and everything at your space. But tell me this, Jared, what about the seating arrangement? Because you're talking about a huge community hall where everybody would be sitting in together. Now, if everybody sits close by, there's going to be a lot of disturbance. So how will you divide the space for every grade?
There is a simple solution to it. Each group will have different timings to meet up. Each student group will meet every day for an hour. Since their timings will be different, there would be no disturbance.
I think that's a very smart and simple solution, as you said. Well done. All right. So now let's talk about managing the new admissions that you would be having. So who would be that person who would manage new admissions or creating groups, taking requests from parents, or any of those tasks? Will you be doing this along with your school?
I'm going to make these groups self-sustainable. The roles and responsibilities will be divided among the members themselves. There will not be one person heading the group, but all the members doing their own part and sharing their responsibilities. For example, some members will be responsible for the admission procedure, collecting consent forms filled by each of the students' parents. This will also build leadership skills among the students.
Fair point. Okay, so coming to another important aspect for today's discussion, Jared, which is the pricing part. So will you have any fee model or any kind of pricing model for the students to come to your study space and study together?
There is no fee to be a part of my study group because I believe that education should be free and accessible to everyone.
Oh, well, that's a lovely, noble thought you have there, Jared. I really hope that more students think the way you are thinking. So, but tell me something. Do you need funds for anything? Because you're not charging a fee. Is there anything which will require a cost for you
Since
to
I
learn
am
this? Yeah, tell me.
Since I am starting this initiative for a cause, I do not aim to earn money and there is no need for any kind of investment from my side. Students would be coming along to study together at community places. Technically, I'm not investing any money in anything, so I do not need funding right now. The only resource that I will be using is the community center. I have received special permission from the higher authorities where I will get a complete waive off on this electricity usage.
I think that's great, yeah, because that might have been your one, in one kind of expense that would happen, but you are getting a waive off there. That's great. So, Jared, now let's talk about your target audience. Do you have any specific age who would be participating in your groups, in your study groups?
My target audience are students in my neighborhood and in my school. Along with them, their parents are also my target audience as it is the latter who make decisions for the former.
I absolutely agree on that point with you. Yes. Let's talk about the grouping now. How many groups are you planning to form?
Thank you for this question. So I am planning to form 4 groups for starters. The groups will be formed on the basis of the class of a student. For example, grade 5 students will have a separate group, grade 6 and 7 will have a separate one, and so will grade 8. As you know, too many cooks spoil the dish. Therefore, there will be only 5 to 7 students in one group, and the minimum number of students required to start a new group for the same class is 4.
Okay, I think you do have the sweet spot identified, Jared. For a new group and all. I think a good number 4 is a good number to start with, and I love the clarity that you have around your idea overall. Yeah, so well done on that. So now quickly tell us that how will you reach out to your audience? How will you tell them that you're running such a community service?
I will put up posters in my school and in the society where I live. I'm going to hand them over to adults in the society who might want a child to be part of such a group. I will ask my friends in my apartments to circulate the posters in their respective schools as well.
Okay, understood. Now, coming to the last question for today. What about the startup basics? Do you have like a name for the community and do you have like a logo, tagline maybe?
Yes, I do have a logo and a tagline. My logo is EduHub, where students come together to study. My tagline is Gather to Learn, as I want the community of students to come together and assist each other in their learning process.
All right, Jared, good job. It was a pleasure listening to you and your big idea. And I love the passion that you have around helping yourself and your other friends to study together with the help of collab groups. So great job and good homework done. So for now, Jared, I think I'm going to thank you for sharing your big idea with us at EduHub Startup Studios. We wish you the very best and we'll bid goodbye to you for now.
Bye.
Thank you, Jared. Bye-bye.
Yay!